exactly.
You call it 64, I still call it 40.
Yeah, 40, 64,
Right.
depending on how long you've lived here, right?
How old you are.
Yeah. But yeah, that'll be a great addition. You know, we have 270, it runs at capacity a lot of the time. And so that also
Is that
gives,
what you call that? I'd say over
well,
capacity.
you know, it runs at capacity. You never can run over capacity because it'll only take what it'll take. But
Right.
yeah, we have a lot of congestion in the mornings and the evenings on various parts of 270.
Yeah, what is it about? Okay, specifically from going south on 270, from 40 going towards 44.
Mm-hmm.
No, actually, that's the evening. It slows down once you get past Doherty Ferry. What is that? I mean, from an engineering point of view, why is it day after day that same situation occurs?
It's more cars trying to use the road than it can handle. And we've tried various things to alleviate that. You know, people kind of make fun of it, but the variable speed limits are an effort to try to get people to go at a continuous rate, because what happens is once somebody slows down, you kind of get this, you know, wave situation that really makes it worse. But the bottom line is there's more cars trying to go south in the evening than there is roadway to handle it.
Have you noticed a reduction in the number of cars traveling since the economy began to go down in 08, 09?
Yes, we have.
What percentage have you noticed?
You know, it's not as much as you would think, but we're only responsible for the interstates and the bigger roads, so I think you see people using those, you know, consistently. But we're seeing in a lot of places maybe as much as a 5% reduction in travel. Mm-hmm. Some places it's more, and in some places we haven't noticed anything. But we monitor that on a daily basis, and we can tell you on any given day how many cars are using which roads.
Now, this 141 project we were talking about, what's the cost of that?
Well, the piece that we're doing is
Explain the piece you're doing.
The piece that MoDOT's doing is the basically 40 to Olive piece, mm-hmm. and that'll turn that into a 6-lane expressway. Interchanges at Ladue and Olive, and you know that's about a $70 million project when you factor in the right-of-way, utilities, and construction. And then the county has embarked on a project that matches up with ours at Olive that goes north from Olive basically to where the Earth City Expressway is 4 lanes already. Mm-hmm. And their project is in the same ballpark. I think their construction design bid was $52 million.
What length is that approximately, do you know? Like a mile,
if you
2
put them,
miles,
if you
3
put them
miles?
all together, it's probably almost 3.5, 4 miles.
From 40 to the Earth
City Expressway.
Earth City Expressway.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
So not too much. I mean,
Yeah,
so we're talking what, about $120 million or thereabouts?
Yeah, something like
do that.
Yeah.
Is that a bargain?
Well, right now, actually, the competition in the construction industry is fierce, and we are getting great prices. And that's really because everybody knows that the end is near of where our funding is going to drop off. And so the industry is really trying to get all the projects that they can get. So every month when we let projects, we are seeing larger number of bidders and prices that are phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that. I was going to go into the new Mississippi River Bridge and 44, but let's just stick with this for right now, mm-hmm. then we'll come back to those. Let's talk about this funding. Right, before we went on the air, you told me, and by the way, so that viewers know, this is February 16th when we're taping this, and they're probably seeing this sometime in March, so something may have changed between now and then. But you were telling me that because the federal budget is not fully set right now, this may be hurting Missouri's ability to fund some of its road projects.
Yeah, one of our biggest concerns right now is that we have not had a federal transportation bill since September of last year. Mm-hmm. It expired, and Congress has not reauthorized a new one for the next 6 years. And in the interim, some things that deal with federal budgeting basically have reduced the amount of money that we're getting monthly for our 18-cent gas tax that mm-hmm. we send to Washington. And basically what it equates to is that the bill will be funded at $30 billion nationwide instead of 42. And what that means to Missouri is that we lose $22 million every month. So for every month that the federal government doesn't act, we're losing $22 million. If this
and then you said it locks in, and then you get a permanent loss if they don't go by what date?
Right. The federal budget, is my understanding, gets locked in at the end of February. So if they don't do something between now and the end of February, we'll be living with this situation for the rest of the year.
So the people listening to this will actually, if they're
They'll
paying
know.
attention, they'll know how this all
Yeah, they'll
turned
know
out.
if something happened or not. And we're pushing very hard to restore that level to the full funding level, because these are critical things. I mean, it's projects, but it's jobs. You know, it's what can MoDOT commit to, and with the uncertainty looking forward, it's really difficult for us to commit to projects unless we know that the federal government's going to reimburse us for, you know, our share of the federal gas tax, and then what do we do with our funding from Missouri? So until we know those things, it's really hard for us to commit to projects in this environment.
Which now takes us to the Mississippi River Bridge. Is this, what you just described, going to have any impact on the funding for that?
No, it won't, because we have already awarded the main span for the bridge.
Yes.
And we're going to award in a few days the Missouri approach. Now, the only thing...
It's not like you have this money sitting in the bank, do you?
No.
Right.
No.
So, I mean, the stream has to still come in to pay those contractors.
But once we commit, we've already locked in that funding stream. What it does is it puts in jeopardy future projects that we would commit to.
Got it.
So could it affect the Missouri interchange or something? And I don't know what Illinois' impact is, but they'll be dealing with the same issues. But I just don't know what they're, you know, how much they're losing from this issue or not.
Now, 44 was a big carrier of automobiles during the Highway 64 project, and now it's deteriorated some, hasn't it, because of that heavy use? What is it you have to do to it now that traffic is moving back over to 64?
Well, if people remember, before we started the first closure on 64, we restriped entire length of 44 from 270 downtown to add a lane. We narrowed the lanes, we took away some of the shoulders, and it worked very well.
So you had 5 lanes going in each direction?
Five lanes each direction. We did the same thing on a portion of 70 between 270 and 170. The commitment we made was that while we needed the capacity, we would restripe it, but then once all that traffic went back to its original places and the traffic went back to normal, we would restripe that to full 12-foot lanes and put full shoulders back on the road. And so this summer, you'll see that happening. We'll have to resurface the road. You know, it has kind of taken a beating, and to get rid of those stripe marks, it's really difficult to do it.
Yeah, you had problems actually when you went the other way.
That's right.
There was like some bumps or something.
Right.
That motorcyclists were having some difficulty with that.
That's right. We had to go in and do some interim patching and put down some surface there to cover up the old stripes. And so to do that again, we're gonna resurface it, get it nice and smooth, put down nice new state-of-the-art bright stripes, you know, and put the shoulders back. And I think people will appreciate that. It'll make it feel better to them, I think, and we'll still be able to move the traffic.
I'm okay with the 5 lanes the way it is right now. I understand that you're talking about safety issues and you don't have enough room to actually add shoulders.
Yeah.
Or do you? You don't have space? I mean, if you had the money to do this,
I mean, if we had the money, I think, you know, there are all kinds of issues with sound abatement. When we add a lane, we have to add sound walls. So for right now, we really don't need the capacity on 44. It's one of our best flowing interstates in the entire region. So we're going to put that back, and then, you know, in the future someday, that may be another project.